This is this video just kind of give you a general overview of how to use your brushes and make sure your tablet's working correctly. So just make a new document. Again, always remember it's 300 resolution, pixels per inch, and you can choose the size you wanted there. All right. So I have my Wacom tablet plugged in. So just a few things to check before you start to do too much drawing on here. So I'll show you. I'll open up my settings here, or system preferences. So this is on a Mac. It will look different, obviously, if you're doing it on Windows, but you should be able to adjust some of the same settings. So I'm just going to go down to Wacom tablet here and check a few things. So here under current pressure, notice how that gets bigger with how hard I'm pressing. So you can adjust this, the tip feel, so it's more sensitive. I like it a little firmer, so I have to push harder to get what will amount to thicker strokes when you're drawing in Photoshop. Another thing here, I disable both these buttons on my pen. You can have them as different settings on there, but I find I just end up accidentally bumping them while I am drawing. So I just disable those so I don't accidentally have stuff going on while I'm trying to draw. But make sure that that pressure sensitivity is working. When you get to mapping, so this can be another thing you may want to adjust. I like my whole screen to be represented on the tablet there. So when I go from one side of my tablet to the other, it goes across the whole screen of my computer here. But you can adjust that and have it be slightly different, but whatever works for you. I think this is probably the best one there. Alright, so when you're in Photoshop, I'll just give you an outline of a few brushes. So here's all the standard ones here. This is the one I use the most, just hard round pressure size. It's a very simple, and it's not working. There it goes. So as you can see here, for a second my pressure sensitivity was not working. I'm not sure why that happened. But basically you just want to be able to go from thin line to thick line, thin to thick with that single brush. Okay. So you can adjust a few of these settings here. You can adjust the opacity of it so it's slightly transparent, and then as you go over it again, it'll build up that darkness, get closer to black. The flow is kind of how much is coming out of it, so you can turn that down as well. This kind of comes into play with more textured brushes. Usually I don't mess with the flow too much, just the opacity. And smoothing again is something. So if you kind of have a shaky hand a little bit and you're finding you're not getting your lines that smooth, you can turn up this smoothing and it'll get really nice smooth lines. But as you notice, the more I turn this up, it causes the brush to lag there. So I would say if you do want that smoothing, just use it sparingly. So I would probably only turn it up just a little bit, and that can help you just to get a little bit of smoothing in there to make your lines look a little bit nicer. But if you turn it up too much, it'll kind of affect how you draw. But if you're comfortable with your line work, then you don't need that up at all. I'll just show you guys a few other brushes that I'll share with you as well. So I've exported these two here. I will attach these to the email. Andrew's brushes are just a bunch of common ones I use, and then these comic brushes are also a pack I downloaded that I'll share with you guys. So these common, or the Andrew brushes, so these ones here, I use these worn oil pastels a lot, which get a really nice texture in there. And this is where you can start to play with the flow and the opacity settings. So a lot of these are trying to mimic real life medium, so this is kind of like oil pastels obviously, but it has some nice texture in there. This one's similar as well. And some of you may have the ability, depending on your tablet, for rotation. So this one, as you can see, I can rotate this brush, but you guys may, it depends on what pen you have. So that may not work for you guys. But if it does, some of them have rotation. I use this one here for doing like different textures like grasses and things like that. What's this one? Yeah, I use this for sometimes doing like leaves and trees and things like that. Again, just some more nice textures. And this one I believe is really good for clouds. Let's make a new layer. So this one is really good for cloud type formations or smoke. But that's when you want to get a little bit more realistic with it. So you play around with all these, see what you like the best. And here's are the other ones that I shared with you guys. These ones are really nice kind of comic style ones. So they have some pencil ones. So it's sometimes nicer to draw with these that they're kind of trying to look like a pencil. It forces you to draw a little bit looser because they're not quite as perfect. So these might be good for like laying down the pencils first, or maybe drawing your thumbnails with those, and going from there. But they have this Inker Organic is a really nice ink brush. So if you want to get some inking done on your artwork, this one's really good. And I might turn up that smoothing just a little bit. There we go. Look how nice that is. So this is a good brush for finishing off your drawing. So when you want to get more precise line work and a really clean look on your drawings, this is a good one for that. Alright, so those are kind of the main brushes I use. Again, there's a whole bunch you guys can download and find yourself. I have more, like I have all these brushes in here, but those are these, the general brushes, Andrew's brushes, and this comic pack are kind of the main ones that I use as I'm working. So play around with them, see which ones you like best, see which one you may use the most, but kind of starting out on this next project, just using this hard round pressure size will work. And maybe we'll use a little bit of these worn oil pastels.